there's a couple things that obviously there are certain things that come immediately to mind when we think of the zombie. Slow moving, inarticulate, pursuing people for brains. That I think are probably the things most people think of, particularly prior to the zombie renaissance that we've sort of had in the 21st century, where zombie popular culture is sort of back in a lot of ways. All of those are one version of zombies and not necessarily the only one. The other thing that I think is important to keep in mind is zombies have been used as we've talked about for some ways of criticizing society, pointing out faults in society. There's also ways in which that zombies have been used in ways that I'm less a fan of. You know, one of the things that in my own work on zombies that I wrote on was that back in 2010, 2012, there were the so-called zombie murders that happened in Florida, that there were people that were sort of getting high on bath salts and they were sort of because they were out of their minds on bath salts were sort of cannibalistic and trying to bite or eat people. And the media very much sort of played it up as that they were zombies. And that was a way of using zombies that I was fairly critical of because it kind of glossed over the ways of what was actually going on. That we were getting, a metaphor for something that was actually pretty intense and horrific and due to very specific causes that got kind of watered down as, oh, they're modern day zombies. And so that's a place where, in terms of what you asked, Jonathan, about, kind of where do people get it wrong? That's an example of where I sort of felt zombies were being used wrongly in the sense that, particularly if you think about, The Walking Dead and what I said earlier about how that very much kind of makes us think about our humanity. The media's use of zombies there, I thought, was making us less likely to think about ourselves and the limits of ourselves.